before I start? Say hi, say hello, say hello, say hello. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I am so excited for what I have in store for you today, because even though I'm not as like tapped in and tuned into the like literary scene as I would like to be, or maybe should be, every now and then I will come across, when I'm just like randomly searching online for books to read, like when I did my last book haul, there are things that I stumble upon that I'm like, oh, I didn't realize this author had something coming out this year, next year, whatever. And so there are, I believe, 6 books that I'm so excited to sink my teeth into. I've got my little list pulled up here on the iPad. So if you like reading kind of what I like to read, if you've ever taken any of my recommendations and read them and liked them, hopefully you will like some of these books that I'm about to share with you. My story graph definitely tells you, story graph doesn't lie. Story graph will definitely tell you exactly what it is that you like to read. A lot of these, the 6 that I'm gonna share, are kind of dark, and that's always my number one like percentage, like my highest percentage on story graph of like the genres and like the moods that I like to read. And always it says that I read dark literary fiction. So the first one that I'm gonna talk about is coming out the soonest. So some of these are coming out pretty soon, like within the next couple of months. Some of them won't come out until mid 2025. So I'm gonna start with the ones that come out the soonest. And we're gonna start with Immortal Dark. This comes out September 3rd. Okay, so like pretty soon. This one caught my eye because whoever wrote the blurb is using Ninth House as a comp. So it actually says that it's like The Cruel Prince meets Ninth House. Now, I never read The Cruel Prince, but I did love Ninth House. Like, I'm obsessed. It says it's a dangerously romantic dark academia fantasy. A lost heiress has to infiltrate an arcane society, live with the vampire she suspects killed her family and kidnapped her sister. So obviously we already know what like the tension is going to be. This one is about a woman named Kaiden. And anyway, humans can gain power through their relationships to vampires in this world. So the vampire who I assume ends up like falling for, because it says it's like a romance fantasy, his name is Susenyos Sagad. Susenyos Sagad. You guys can let me know. Some of these names are they're unique. I was gonna say strange, but they're just very unique. Anyway, our main character, Kaiden, in order to like find her sister, she has to infiltrate this elite school where students study to inherit their family fortune and select vampire companions. So I love a dark academia. I've actually never read, or haven't read all that many, but I'm obsessed with that whole genre, and I'm writing one right now in the writing course that I'm in. She sinks further into the ruthless underworld of vampires, and she discovers, of course, all these like secrets and things. So anyway, technically I will say, okay, technically this is young adult, so I'm hoping it doesn't read too young adult, because sometimes now that I'm like 30, the very kind of like juvenile style of writing that you get in young adult, which obviously like totally makes sense and is just a little bit too like not literary enough for me. So it is a young adult, but I'm still very excited for that one. The next one is an adult book. This is a horror mystery novel. Actually, it says it's a novella. So I don't know. Yeah, it's only 144 pages. So this is gonna be like something you could rip through in a night, honestly, if you really wanted to. But this is Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. If you recognize the name, the author, it is because M.L. Rio wrote If We Were Villains, which definitely had its moment when Book Talk started pushing all of the like dark academia aesthetic type stuff. She may kind of become an auto-buy author for me. I've honestly only ever read If We Were Villains. So I'll have to check and see if she has other things, but Graveyard Shift is coming out September 24th. So again, we don't have like too long to wait for this one. This one is a story about a ragtag group of night shift workers who meet in the local cemetery to unearth the secrets lurking in an open grave. So we have a bartender, a rideshare driver, hotel receptionist, the steward of a church, and an editor of the college paper. And then they end up like following the guy, I guess. That's what the synopsis makes it sound like. And then it leads them to like uncovering some weird bumping in the night things that have been happening. It is a horror novel, like mystery thriller, so it's supposed to be quite eerie and creepy. So I feel like this would be a really fun one maybe for Halloween night. And I do love that there are some mushrooms on the cover. I'm actually in the process right now of trying out different like mushroom coffees to try to find like a healthier coffee. If it has anything to do with mushrooms, I will be very excited. Now I'm hoping, because I already have like a guess that I could make related to mushrooms and how they could be related to the twist. So this may be one that I can kind of guess easily. I don't know, we'll see. It sounds like good, creepy fun, and I'm here for it. So that is Graveyard Shift. Okay, next up we have a short story collection. October 15th, Olivia Blake has a book coming out, a short story collection called Januaries. Stories of love, magic, and betrayal. It's a collection of iconic short stories and novellas from the best-selling author. She wrote the Atlas 6. I believe it's a trilogy. So there's the Atlas 6, the Atlas Paradox, and the Atlas Complex. She's actually written a couple of other books as well, like 3 other books. It says fantasy, adult, romance, so it sounds like it's going to be a little bit of a mix. I don't know if the synopsis is saying like all of the stories are intertwined in some way, but it's kind of giving us like a little blurb about each of the main characters. There's one about a banished fairy, a magical spirit. It sounds like it's kind of going to be all over the place, but in the best way possible. Escape the slow trudge of mortality with these magical ruminations on life, death, and the love or revenge that outlasts both. Modified fairy tales, contemporary heists, absurdist poetry, and at least one set of actual wedding vows. It really does sound like a crazy mishmash. It's 400 pages, so it's gonna be kind of a chunky one, but super excited for this short story collection that is Januaries. Okay, this next one may be the one that I'm most excited about. I mean, I'm excited for all of them, but Grady Hendrix, he's one of my faves. I definitely want to do a video about him, that kind of like that I did with Chuck Palahniuk. Now we're moving into 2025, so this does not come out until January 14th, 2025, and it is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. I love all of Grady Hendrix's stuff, all of his stuff. I started with My Best Friend's Exorcism. That was my favorite by him. The cover got me. I remember like seeing his stuff for the first time on the shelves. He has the best team, like designers. Horror Store is a really fun one. It's basically a haunted IKEA, like a haunted furniture store, and the furniture starts turning into like torture devices. That one is so cool because you flip through it and it's like an instruction manual. This is an adult horror fantasy. So our setting is Wellwood Home in St. Augustine, Florida. So it's like a group of young teen moms, I think, and they're kind of smuggled away there by their families to have their babies in secret. So our main character is 15-year-old Fern. And she comes in and meets all the other girls. It also takes place in the 70s, which is always fun. Grady Hendrix is so good with doing like period pieces. And then they get a book from the library that's like an occult book about witchcraft. They learn that power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it's never given freely. There's always a price to be paid, usually paid in blood. Again, this would be another really fun Halloween read. I'm looking at Goodreads right now, and it literally has Halloween as one of the tags. You can tell that he's done a lot of research. Like if you read his bio, he knows a lot about like the satanic panic that was happening in the 80s, and that kind of seeps into a lot of his work. Very, very excited for Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. The next one comes out in February 18th, 2025 to be exact. This is a sequel, so this is a follow-up to a book that I hauled recently, so it will depend on whether or not I like the first one, whether or not I actually read the second one. Oh, I'm gonna have to get up. The Deer and the Dragon. It does not involve dragons. I was kind of stalking the author. She has such cool social media. And she was like, no, it does not include dragons. So if you are thinking that you're going to be reading a book about dragons, you are wrong and you will be disappointed. It's kind of like a metaphor for religious trauma, I think she said, something like that. This is the No Other Gods series. I don't know if it's like a duology, if it's going to be a trilogy. I don't know how many books she has planned. And you might recognize Piper CJ's name because she's written actually quite a bit of other stuff as well. She's really cool. She has a degree in folklore, which is just the coolest thing. She writes a lot about like fae and stuff. The second book in the No Other Gods series is The Fox and the Falcon. They are fantasy romance books, so if you like fantasy romance, I'm hoping that I'm really gonna like them. If the vibes of the covers are saying anything about the content I'm really gonna like them. But in the first one, we find out that our main character, Marlo, she's had this like imaginary friend all of her life, and she can also see angels and demons, which is really cool. She finds out that she's been sharing a bed with the Prince of Hell. This one is, it gets a little bit darker, it sounds like, because we are heading into the apocalypse. So it says, Marlo has spent most of her life believing the shadowy demon she loves isn't real, but not only is he the Prince of Hell, he's now in serious danger. Their reunion is cut short as Caliban remains in a vicious battle with the Phoenician goddess after Marlo's escape. So yeah, I feel like I probably should stop reading because it's gonna ruin, potentially spoil the first book. So that is The Fox and the Falcon. The next one, and last one actually, is from an author named Joe Abercrombie. I feel like I've heard his name before, but maybe only because I'm thinking of like Abercrombie, like the clothing store. So he has like other series already. But the one that I want to read from him comes out May 6th. So I have the longest wait for this one, and that is The Devils. This one, the blurb is pretty short, so I'll just read the blurb. It says, a band of anti-heroes are on a delightfully bloody and raucous journey. Holy work sometimes requires unholy deeds. Brother Diaz has been summoned to the sacred city, where he is certain accommodation and a grand holy assignment awaits him. But his new flock is made up of unrepentant murderers, practitioners of ghastly magic, and outright monsters. The mission he is tasked with will require bloody measures from them all in order to achieve its righteous ends. So I'm not sure if he's supposed to be human, something more than human. I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's supposed to be a creature himself, or if we're just dealing with like monsters and these ghouls and elves and stuff as like an aside. It has some praise from George R.R. Martin and Vandermeer and Lev Grossman. I feel like the blurb cheated us just a little bit on that one, because typically sometimes the synopsis is like too long and it gives away like too much information, and I feel like that one like did not give us very much at all. Basically a ragtag group of people on a journey getting into trouble. All right, so that is it. Those are the 6 that I'm the most excited for. You guys definitely let me know if you have heard of anything coming out that is like similar vibes to these. A lot of these were definitely more like dark, which apparently that's the kind of thing that I like, so I'm not really surprised there. But I feel like a lot of these, like especially like The Devils, it comes out in May, but I feel like I'll probably like keep it on my TBR until like October next year. Like I said, I love dark literary fiction, romance, fantasy, dark academia, all of that goodness. So you guys definitely let me know if you have any books that you would recommend, whether they're out or not. Anyway, I will see you guys in my next video. Happy reading.